Yo, what is up, YouTube? Welcome back to this video, to my channel. And real quick, before we start this video and before you start to dive into it, be sure and go watch the two previous videos so you understand what's going on here and you have a basis of what is going to be said in this video. Okay, so welcome to this video. My name is Zach, if you don't already know. And what I'm going to be going over today is the 3 skills that you need to become a good remote closer and how to actually start closing deals after you've landed the job, okay? Why you need them, and most importantly, what they actually consist of, right? So with that being said, why do you actually need skills, and why do people buy anything at all right? So real quick on skills, okay? You need skills for one main reason and one reason only, right? And that reason is so you can get hired as a closer, number one, right? You do well, which means you close a ton of deals, you help a lot of people, and you help yourself in the process. And finally, you start to march toward your way to financial freedom, okay? That is the most important thing, right? Now, that's the reason why you need skills. Now, the second thing, I want to establish a basis before I actually get into these skills, okay? And this basis is very simple. It's almost every human on the planet buys something, right? But why do they buy it? They buy it for a purpose, okay? And that purpose is very, very simple. And it's very important for you to understand this because beginners struggle with this, and even experienced salespeople struggle with this because they don't understand this, right? But people buy things for a reason, and that reason is to get the end result. That's what they want. That's exactly what they're shooting for, and that is what you're supposed to sell, okay, is the end goal, the end result. They want a result, and they want a product or service that will actually get them to that result, right? So it's very, very important to keep that in the back of your mind while we go over these skills, okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the first skill, which in my opinion is charisma, okay? This is a skill that you need to actually be a good closer, right? You need a little charisma, and the reason for that is what makes you different to talk to, right? If somebody is looking for an end result and an end goal, their whole purpose is to go find it, right? Hey, how do I get to this end result? What do I do? And the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to start researching, and then eventually they're going to be talking to somebody, okay? They're going to be talking to multiple different people trying to see, okay, does this solve my problem? Is it going to get me my goal that I'm trying to reach? All that good stuff, right? And if they're talking to multiple people and then they get to you, what makes you any different than any of the people that they talk to, right? One of the biggest things, in my opinion, is going to be charisma. Okay, so first, let's dive into what charisma actually is. And this is super simple. Okay, the definition is it's an attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others. Okay, so for example, right, if you watch somebody on TV, let's say you watch a cooking show like Gordon Ramsay or whatever, right? If you're watching that specifically, he is inspiring devotion in you to be a good cook, right? So he has charisma on camera because of what he's saying, how he's doing it, who he's known for, right? He's kind of a dickhead, okay? So because of that, you know exactly who it is, what's happening, all that good stuff. And he's inspiring devotion in you by saying, hey, you suck, get better, right? This helps people actually believe what you're saying instead of just blowing smoke, okay? The charisma and the difference between it is you actually being truthful and you just blowing smoke up somebody's butt, right? That's the difference. So you have to have that attractiveness and that charm and understand how to speak to somebody and give them the truth. And one of the biggest things to do this and how to actually get charisma is be genuine, right? Be genuine in everything that you do. Be truthful in everything that you do. Make other people feel important and not put yourself on some pedestal. I see this mistake time and time again with closers, remote closers, salespeople in general, is they put themselves on this super high pedestal of, well, I'm the authority, I'm in charge, right? I think that's dumb. I don't think you should do that. I think that if you actually are going to sell somebody and you're going to help them, you need to be genuine in everything that you do, and you need to make it about that prospect, not about yourself, okay? If you start doing that, people are actually going to start believing you, and you'll start selling very, very well. Okay? So see them, hear them, and remember them, right? That's something that's going to be super important. Make them feel important, all that good stuff, and be genuine from your heart why you're there and that you care about them, okay? Number 2, one good way to get charisma and add on to what I just said is pause before you speak, okay? Understand that when somebody speaks to you, they're expecting you to listen. A lot of people that get on phone calls or they come meet you in person, as a salesperson, a lot of these people don't really get listened to that much, right? So when they're talking to you, think long and hard before you say something, okay? Listen to what they said. Process exactly what they just told you and wait a second. Pause a little bit and then respond to exactly what was said in the entire order, right? And respond accordingly. Be genuine in that response and make them feel important. Okay, that's super, super, super huge and a great tip for you as a first skill. Okay, the last thing is just use a bit of humor. Me personally, I'm not a funny guy. So what I'll do is I'll say something straight stupid where they're like, what did you just say? Right? That tends to work. Okay, but you can use a bit of humor in multiple different ways. You can say something that is absolutely stupid. You can say something random, or you can say something that just kind of catches them off guard, right? So those are 3 small points, and obviously charisma could be a video in itself, but those are 3 points of how you can actually get it today, what it is, and why it's such an important skill for you to know and to understand and to eventually master so you can start selling as a remote closer, okay? Skill number 2. Understanding situations, all right? Speaking and listening, okay? This is super, super important. You need to understand every situation for what it is, why it is, and how it is, all right? Especially as a closer, because when you are going to sell somebody, you need to know what their situation is, why it is, how it is, because if you do, you understand their belief system, okay? So in order to understand any situation, you must ask questions. Right? This is where speaking comes in. Okay? This is when you're supposed to speak in a call or a sales setting, right? You ask questions, right? Now, what questions do you ask? It's a question I get quite often, okay? This truly depends on what you're selling and what it is that you actually need to know, okay? So every offer is different in the questions that they ask because they need to know certain things. Some need to know your age. Some need to understand the way you believe. Some need to understand what your past is in terms of businesses or what your past is in terms of how you make decisions, right? Everything is different. But just understand that asking questions is to gather information and truly understand where someone is at, where they're coming from, and what they believe to be true, okay? That is super important. So when you're asking questions and you're asking things, one of the main concepts to focus on is understand where someone is at right now. What is their current situation? Okay? Understand where they're coming from. What is their past situation that got them to that current situation? And then lastly, why do they believe the way that they believe? What do they believe to be true? Okay? How do they think? What's going on in their current process? How do they make decisions, right? If you can ask questions along those bases, you will have a great, great, great understanding of where people are at and what their situation is and how you can fix their situation and help their situation based on what they're wanting, okay? That's where listening comes in, all right? After you ask, this is where you begin to listen, okay? So if you're asking where somebody is at, what their current situation is, you need to listen very intently on what they're saying, possibly even take notes, right? Super important. Where they're coming from, what they believe to be true, all of it, you need to listen intently every time you ask a question. And listening happens in 2 different ways. One, you're listening to what is said and how it is said, right? So what exactly is said in the wording and how is it said? How are they delivering it, right? Are they a little aggressive? What are they doing, right? Are they happy about it? All that good stuff. Listen to how it's said. And then 2, you're listening for a belief and what happened in their life that made them believe the way that they do. And the reason you're trying to understand all of this, I know this is a lot of information, but the reason you're trying to understand all of this is because if you know how they believe, what happened in their life that makes them believe the way they do, and you understand how they're saying it, you're going to know their psychology and their attitude behind why they're trying to get to their goal, right? And then what you can do later in the call is nail that down and reinforce that. Hey, this is the reason you're trying to get to this end goal. Let's not forget that, right? Don't let something that you can't control hold you back from it. Don't let time, don't let money, don't let resources, don't let whatever hold you back. That is the reason you're listening, right? So you can actually help them make a decision later on the call, okay? So understanding situations, speaking, and listening, that is what you want to do. That is how you do it. And if you can master this skill specifically, you can literally practice this anywhere. You can practice this with your family, practice it in the mirror. It doesn't matter, right? If you can understand this skill right here, you will do very, very well. And the last skill is being solution-oriented, okay? This is probably the best thing that you could possibly do. Now, I could do a whole video on this, but I kept it really short, really simple to 3 main points, okay? One of the main points is, does it make sense for the customer and for the business, right? That's what you're doing as a remote closer. You're trying to make it make sense for the customer and also make it make sense for the actual business owner, okay? So be solution-oriented in that regard, right? How do you be solution-oriented? Very, very simple. Number 1 is gather information, exactly what we just talked about. If you can understand situations, you're going to know exactly what is going on, exactly what somebody's thinking, why they think it, and what they're trying to accomplish, okay? Super important. Number 2, once you understand what they're trying to accomplish, what they're trying to do, that is when you're going to pitch your said pitch, right? Whatever it is that you're selling, whatever it is that's going on, as long as it makes sense to pitch it and they actually want it, then you can go ahead and give the pitch. In my opinion, the pitch should only be 2 to 3 minutes long because you either have what they want or you don't, right? If you have what they want, give them the pitch really quick, really short, really concise, and then start to brainstorm different solutions, because 99% of the time, somebody's going to say, well, I don't know if I have time for this. I don't know if I have the budget for that. I don't know if I have anything for that, right? They're going to blame a lot of circumstances and a lot of different situations, okay? Brainstorm different solutions and be solution-oriented on this regard. How can we make time? How can we make financial work, right? How can we do anything? What is your big idea? Because you said you wanted this, correct? Yes, I really do want this. I really believe in it. Okay, perfect. If you believe in it and if you really want it, because I'm not going to sell you something that you don't even want, right? If you do want this, how can we make it work? What can we do for you to help the time, to help the finances, to help the current situation that you're in, whatever the case may be, right? That's super important. And I've kind of written all this down, right? Number 1, you need to establish, do they actually want to make it work? If they do want to make it work and you've established that, then you can start going into the actual questions. What could put them in a good position, right? What do you think could work to put them in a good position? How can we make it creative for this to work? All that good stuff, okay? It's being solution-oriented. Once you have agreed upon this, which, by the way, is a soft close. If you don't know what a soft close is, it's a close without actually exchanging money or anything like that, right? It's a commitment. That's it, okay? Once you've agreed upon, hey, this is how we can get creative, this is how we can make it work, do you think that will work for you? They say, yes, I think that'll work for me. I can do that. Perfect. We've got a soft close. Now what you do at this point is it's time to implement that solution, right? And what you do is you say, perfect. Now that we have something up that works for you, all that good stuff that works for us as well, let's do it right now, okay? Let's get this going. Let's implement immediately, so that way you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to worry about anything else. You can focus on this right now, and you can start to take one step closer to your goal, okay? Because if we don't do it right now, you're not going to be one step closer to your goal. You're going to be one step further because you're 6 inches from gold right now, right? That's it. Then you actually get the close, okay? So being solution-oriented like that is super, super important because it allows you to be very versed in whatever the situation is, okay? That is very important because there's going to be different situations for everybody. Every single person that you talk to is going to have a different situation, right? They're going to have different problems that they face in their life. They're going to have different pluses that they have in their life, right? They're going to have different everything in their life, and you have to be able to adapt to be solution-oriented. How can we make it work for this person, right? This person has XYZ going on. How can we get around XYZ and help them further their life, further their career, further their goals, whatever the case may be, right? Depending on what you're selling. That is super important, okay? If you can be solution-oriented, you can do anything as a closer, right? So those are the 3 skills that I advise you to learn, and hopefully you found some value in this and this helped you out, okay? And just to recap, skill number 1 is charisma, right? Skill number 2 is understanding everything that is going on with that current situation, right? So understanding situations. And skill number 3 is being solution-oriented, okay? If you can do these things, you will not only become a closer, right, and actually get hired whenever you're doing a mock interview or something like that, but you will be a very, very, very good closer, okay? Now, with that being said, again, I hope you found some value in this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure and click that like button, that subscribe button, so that way we can spread this information to more people so they can start reaching their financial goals as well. And most importantly, stay tuned for next week, okay? Next week, I'm going to be dropping a video that is a free sales training for anybody that wants to watch. That sales training is going to be freaking awesome. I'm super excited to do that, and I think it's going to help a lot of people, whether you're a closer or whether you're trying to get into closing, okay? So with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, make sure and like and subscribe, and thank you. Peace.